Good evening, everyone. I'd like to open tonight's regular select board meeting. It is December. It is November 17th, 2021, and this is a regular select board meeting here in Brookline. The time is 6:34 p.m. Very cute. All right, meeting's been called to order. Any particular changes to the agenda at this time? I am going to move up item 8B, the appointment of our DD fiber, Mr. Donald Demay. Hi, Donald. Donald, welcome to our select board meeting via Zoom.
Hello. Thank you.
And Peter, I'll spell names shortly for you. Okay. Right now in the room, we have Mr. Guy Tanzer, a videographer and town clerk, Mr. Mark Bellows, who is our road supervisor, Gwen, what's your last name, Tanza, Stan Noga. We used to have Bruce Mello, but he's gone somewhere, and myself, Dot Maggio, here in the select board office. Okay, all right, at this point, we'll take a review and approve the minutes from the regular meeting on November 3rd, 2021. And we'll start with page 1 of 8. Any changes on page 1?
I'll look at it later.
Not hearing them, we'll move on to page 2, draft minutes from November 3rd. Any changes on page 2?
Yep.
Yes? Bruce?
Page 2, REMC appointee.
Yes.
Date shouldn't be the 16th, it should be the 17th.
The 16th is when the meeting was. I went to the meeting last night.
Oh, is that what, okay,
Yes.
sorry.
So that the date's fine.
Okay. Sorry.
Correct. Page 3.
Actually, Dot, sorry, on page 2, under that same REMC appointee section, the last sentence there, Peter, you're just missing the E off of Mr. Fontaine's name in the last sentence. You see
Thank
that?
you.
Just that. Thanks.
Anything else on page 2? Page 3. Okay, we'll move on to page 4. Nothing here. Yes, sir.
Second to last paragraph.
Okay.
It's called Nemrick, isn't it? It's not Nemrick.
Nemrick, N-E-M.
Yeah.
Nemrick.
Oh, okay. The word is N as in Nancy. E-M-R-C. Thank you. I didn't notice that.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, page 5. Page 6. Oh, I can't see when you raise your hand because I'm not looking at you. Dot! Yes, sir.
5 down C.
ARPA meeting?
Maybe the last sentence. State FEMA, what rep, what does that mean?
Oh, the state FEMA representative and assistant had provided contact
Okay, so
information,
that's-
STATE. So the word state before the word FEMA was just misspelled. Page 6,
Yep, no, for you.
okay,
Down to Brookline Church, you go call it the meeting house, 3 I's, and it says. Hold on, bear with me a second. Mr. Mello read from a quote for bat removal and exclusion, noted that the problem hadn't been resolved at a cost of $7,000. No, that's not correct. It should have been, I think it was $2,300 when we had, and it was just a cleanup of the bat guano for $2,300. Then it says that the price quoted was $5,000. I'm not reading from the sheet, but.
yes.
Yeah.
All right, so you're saying that the original cost of bat removal and cleanup was Not $7,000.
No, just cleanup. There was no bat removal first time.
Okay, so the original
So it's just
cost of,
for bat guano removal, or what do you want to put it? I think it was $2,300. That price was, it wasn't $7,000.
I'm totally lost. Where are we?
we are on page 6, under Town Building Commissioner Bruce Mello, not the daycare, not town building, the Brookline Meeting House, where it says bats in the belfry.
Okay,
Okay, Mr. Mello read from a quote for bat removal and exclusion, noted that the problem had not been resolved in the past. Should we just, if we don't know the exact amount, I don't wanna re-quote it.
Well, it wasn't $7,000, and it wasn't bat removal, it was bat guano removal.
All right, so we're gonna change that sentence. So Mr. Mello read from a quote from bat removal and exclusion, noted that the problem had not been resolved.
No. Mr. Mello read from a quote for bat
Guano removal.
guano removal and noted that the problem hadn't been resolved at a cost of $2,300.
You sure that amount now?
Pretty sure.
For approximately $2,300.
Approximately works. And then it says, after that, it says that the price quoted was $5,000, which is accurate.
Okay.
That's the quote that was given by that company.
Okay.
so
uh,
a quote for bat guano removal.
Was
No.
approximately,
No. He's getting confused. I'm sorry, Peter. This is a mess.
I can do it, I can fix it.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Mello read from a quote for bat guano removal and noted that the problem had not been resolved. That cost approximately was $2,300, period. The price quoted recently, do you know the name of the company?
Oh, God, help me.
Wow, something,
I remember Scott,
that's not Borscht. It's
Is it-
something-
The price quoted
It's up
by
on the wall
the
there.
exterminator was $5,000, which did not include 2 lift rentals.
at five
Can I-
hundred.
Offer another suggestion. Just, I'm not sure what's intended. I think Bruce was indicating that, Mr. Mello read from a quote for bat removal and exclusion,
For $5,000.
that the price quoted was $5,000, not including 2 lift rentals. The concept of work previously having been done for $2,300 pertains only to the removal of bat guano and not the exclusion of the bats.
Correct.
So it may be what the thing to do is to take the phrase noted that the problem had not been resolved.
At a cost of $7,000, and we just removed that.
No, just
No.
It's a mix of things. There is a bat guano problem, and the intent of the bid was only for removal of the guano. And it was about a $2,300 amount, several years ago. Okay, the quote that Bruce was reading from at the last regular meeting was from a gentleman who was asked to provide a quote for guano removal and elimination of the bat problem by plugging holes. And his estimate was $5,000 that did not include 2 lift rentals.
Which are 700.
So, however we wish to structure that, it would almost seem to make this not confusing, is to just delete from that sentence or move to a sentence after the phrase noted that the problem had not been resolved at a cost of $2,300 roughly.
How's that, Peter?
Is there a way you can phrase that makes sense?
Okay, I now understand that the bat guano removal previously had not been resolved. And it has
Well-
nothing to do with the present situation, which is that
Correct.
somebody has quoted a bat exclusion for $5,000.
That's correct.
So
Yeah,
read from a quote for bat removal and exclusion. For $5,000, not including 2 lift rentals at $705 a day.
Yes.
And just leave out the old problem.
Yeah, I agree.
That
What's
makes
that got?
a lot.
What's that got to do with anything?
Yeah,
There you go.
really good. Yeah.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bill.
I got completely lost at the beginning there. There was something on page 1, which I never heard.
No, I don't think there was anything on page 1.
Okay, then there was Nemrick, and I can't find that.
Nemrick is on page 4,
Second to last paragraph.
close to the end of the second the last 2 sentences.
Oh, it says, oh, it uses an M. Oh, I got it. Okay, that's corrected. And the next one was page 4 again,
No,
or
page
page
5.
5. Okay, there was a
Page 5.
misspelling on page 5. So what was that?
Under ARPA webinar, you spelled the word state wrong in front of FEMA. State, you wrote SATE in it.
So last sentence.
Last sentence in ARPA.
Oh, that the SATE. I got it. Okay, that's actually down on page 6 by that time. Okay,
Did you get the spelling correction that David mentioned with Fontaine needing an E?
Oh, that's what
I
it
did.
was.
Okay.
Okay. I
Thank
got it
you.
all.
Okay, Fontaine.
okay, I apologize. There we go.
All right, next page is page 7, under draft minutes. Any on page 7? Move to page 8. Any other changes there? If not, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the minutes from the November 17th, 2021 Brookline Select Board meeting as amended.
Wouldn't be November 17th, that's
November
today.
17th Select Board meeting as amended.
November 3rd.
Sorry, I got to look at the wrong date again. November 3rd, 2001 Select Board meeting minutes as amended.
It's okay, you got that, you
said
made that minor
2001.
mistake, and I made a mistake for Mike versus Bill.
All right,
I think we
all right, very good.
I
Now
think we
we
should all
should,
meditate for a minute and
Yes.
start over.
let's take a look at the minutes from the special meeting on November 10th. The only thing I'm not exactly
Hang on.
sure was.
Dot, no one seconded the motion and we didn't vote on it.
Seconded.
Seconded by Stan Noga. Any discussion? Thank you, David. Hearing none, all those in favor, notify by saying aye.
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 Any abstain? All right, thanks. It keeps me on track. All right, Wednesday, November 10th, special select board budget meeting. And the only correction that I wasn't exactly sure in my handwriting what time the meeting was adjourned at. So I put 8:30, it may have been 8:25. So I'm gonna do
really?
8:30, because, okay. All right. Any changes to this set of minutes that I typed up? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the November 10th special budget meeting minutes as presented signify by.
You need a motion?
I need a motion. I'm making a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Seconded by Gwen. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving these minutes as written signify by saying aye.
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 Right, the minutes were accepted. Thank you very much. Scheduled members of the public. All right, I'd like to introduce you all to the gentleman in the lower left-hand corner of our Zoom page. This is Mr. Donald Demain. Donald, welcome to the Brookline Select Board meeting tonight. I'm glad you could make it.
Thank you.
Donald has contacted or has been interested in following through and with the DV Fiber Deerfield Valley Network Communications Union. And Donald, you and I spoke on the phone, but maybe you can tell everyone else about your computer interests and such.
Sure. So I came up here February of this year to help out with my mother-in-law, Marge Walsh, who I'm sure some of you know, and sold the house in Connecticut. So we're here, you know, I've been involved in Boy Scouts and Masons and, you know, various other community activities my whole life, and just, you know, came up here and was kind of looking around. I'm a tech guy by trade. I work on computers primarily at this point, servers and cloud-based stuff, but definitely, you know, 30 plus years of experience there. And so I figured bringing fiber to the underserved community, especially, you know, impacting the youth who, you know, if you don't have access to information, it makes it hard to keep up. So I feel that that's a project that I could probably add some value to, certainly hope to, and kind of in line with my trade. So I think that makes a lot of sense. So that's me.
Well, we really appreciate you stepping up and offering your services and knowledge to represent Brookline during this process. As you know, or maybe you're aware that the phase 1 does not include expanding anything in Brookline, but phase 2 does include it. And you know, between you and Marjorie, if you could support the efforts that might come to Brookline, that would be fantastic. That would be much appreciated. Anytime that you feel that you would like to have a moment or two to speak with the select board during any meeting, send me an email and I can put you on the agenda. And when we have scheduled members of the public, we put them on sort of early so that you don't have to hang out the whole meeting. But you are welcome to hang out for the whole meeting. What I'm going to do now is I'd like to make the appointment of Representative Donald Demain to be the alternate for DV Fiber for the town of Brookline. Can I have a second on it?
Sure, second.
Seconded by Bruce. Any discussion? Only discussion is to say thank you again. I do have your email address and your phone number, which I will be passing along. I have the paperwork here that I will send in. All right, all those in favor of appointing Mr. Donald Demain as our alternate representative to DV Fiber signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you very much, Donald.
Thank you,
Excellent.
Donald.
Thank you, Donald.
You're
Nice
welcome.
talk.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
very much. We appreciate it.
Hey, no problem.
Yes.
I think I'll hang out for a little while just to kind of see what's, you know, happening in the community.
Sure.
Heard you will miss the fight.
Sure, you're very welcome to
All right.
do so.
Was,
All right.
sorry, was there a second? I didn't get that.
Bruce Mello,
Bruce
second.
Mello, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, now we're gonna move into no members of unscheduled members. Now we're gonna move into old business review and discuss and finalize the road supervisor's job description. So this afternoon, we got in the email, the highlighted job description for the road supervisor with different color edits on it. And I looked through it and I thought it was well reviewed. And I just wanted to ask if there was anybody who sees any reason to add or delete anything else before this. I asked for approval for
We
me to
have to get
sign
her
it.
attention.
Stan?
Yeah, in reviewing the minutes of November 3rd, I noted that one of the things that you had referenced was photos of road issues before and after. I did not include that in the description, but, so if you wish to make that modification, we can. It's a simple one.
Actually, what we've been doing that already, so it's
Okay.
part of the regular maintenance, and that's part of the regular maintenance of it, so it goes without, it's understood that that's part of it.
All right.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay, yeah.
Glenn, or any questions or changes?
No.
Okay, Bruce?
My only two things is ask if Mark's read it,
Well, Mark hasn't read it.
No, I haven't received.
so we're not gonna put it up for vote yet.
Okay, I'm gonna table this for right now, and I can add it to the special meeting to quickly review this at the beginning of our meeting on, actually, no, we can do it December first.
First.
Is that all right with you?
Yeah.
All right,
Sounds good.
so what I'm
So
gonna
you give
ask,
him a copy?
I'm gonna give him a
It was
copy.
emailed this afternoon with everyone else, so you do
He's
have it
having
on your
trouble with it
computer.
opening.
I can't open.
Oh,
for
having
some
trouble
reason I
opening.
can't open
Okay. You want me to print out a copy while you're here?
If you don't.
Yeah, I can give
mind,
him my
that would
copy.
be great.
All right.
And then I can print another one.
Sounds good.
And if I can make a suggestion, when we discuss this at the first, can we do an executive session? Because it involves his position. I think we should consider doing
I'll
that.
check, but I don't know if it qualifies for
Yeah, I
executive
don't know if
session,
that
because it's not
qualifies
finance,
Because it's a job description.
Yeah, it's not an evaluation.
Okay, that's true, it isn't.
Right,
Okay, all right, maybe I'm jumping the gun a little far.
okay. All right, so I will put that on the December first, if I can have a clean copy of that. If you don't mind, we'll take out all the edit markings
Oh,
and
yeah, okay.
and then we can vote to approve.
I have one request. David is very thorough and he's knowledgeable, and I think when he originally started to correct this, he put it into a comparative review process. And I am uncertain as to how to take that out so that when, I don't know if you noticed the one that I emailed, you probably all haven't had a chance to look at it. But I think because of the review aspect of it, if you look on the right side of each of the pages, you're gonna see this gray area, which I think which is a place for the adjustments to be made. At one point in here, there is a point where on the second page, where it indicated a format change, and David had made a comment somewhere, and so forth. It didn't appear in this printout here, but if David, if I could ask your assistance, and the
Sure,
one that I
yeah.
sent you to take that out so I can change it to all one print, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure, yeah, I can do that based on so the one you sent this afternoon is as far as you're concerned, the final version, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I can,
Just interchange.
sure, so I can go through and just clean up get rid of the track changes and accept them all, and then I'll send the final one around to everybody after that
Great, thank
in
you.
advance of the next meeting. Sure.
All right, thanks, David, much appreciated. All right, wheeled excavator purchase discussion and loan information. All right, so where's the select board on the situation as far as purchasing and actually going out and getting ready to have something for the spring? I'll tell you where I'm at. I am at a point where we're gonna be meeting with the FEMA representative on Friday. There is some road work from the flood that has not been done yet and needs to be done. I'm going to ask the FEMA rep about renting the equipment to get that work done, and that work should be covered under the FEMA reimbursement. So we might have a tractor we could talk about and we'll talk about that Friday with FEMA, when we can get some of the final work done. And we need a big piece of equipment to finish up moving things around. So we may have the vehicle here anyway, and if there is a chance that we could purchase, lease with the option of purchasing after the FEMA cleanup, that would be an economical way to go. And I just was wondering how we want to proceed.
How much,
Go ahead.
how much work are you looking at?
We haven't finished the disaster inventory yet. We are just started last week, we worked on it, and the FEMA man's coming every Friday.
So even if it's a week or 2 weeks or whatever it is, and if you'll agree to us leasing it, that would come out of FEMA money, at least part of it.
Part of it,
Which would start the process,
Right.
and we could lock in something. And then I defer to the numbers, because I don't know what the road fund looks like at all. I haven't really studied it yet, because we scheduled that for the 8th. And it's a big deal. I mean, that's a big discussion, so you know me. I'm not sitting here yesterday. I think it's a really valuable thing for this town and for Mark, but we gotta work it out monetarily. I mean, that's just,
okay?
and I don't think we can really do that until we get our budget straight out,
I agree,
which is gonna happen pretty shortly, I don't think.
but would you all be on the same page if I did talk to FEMA about renting the equipment again to get the disaster
Sounds
work
good to
done,
ask.
and then maybe using that as our jump board to actually keeping something here in town after the fact? Do you understand what I mean, David?
Well, I sort of do. So what is the work that we still need to complete that we're going to complete yet
That's
this season?
No, not this season. We
Well,
have
so
18
there's a big part of my question. So does it, until the FEMA process has run its course, unless, I mean, maybe you've been guaranteed by the person that we're going to get all of the 80% or 75% or whatever it is of all of this cost back. But until we've at least submitted all of that, and we know with clarity how much money we are going to have coming back to us, and therefore how much money we have physically, I don't know why we would even contemplate getting into a long-term lease arrangement until we know all of that. Secondarily, I'm not sure why we would get into a long-term lease arrangement in November.
No.
So
November, no.
Sure.
I was thinking more or less, we're looking at, well, it depends upon the weather. I'm figuring March, April, but I know April we can put in for a loan through the municipal loan program in April, and have to have that in. So and we won't know from FEMA, our case is not gonna be closed until January 10th or 11th. And that's when all of our billing has to be into FEMA. And then anytime after that, we do have 18 months to do the repair work. Any final repair work from FEMA.
Did you ever receive a response, guy from Yonkers?
Yes, and he said he was on holiday and he asked me to call him back. And I haven't had the chance, to be honest with you. I've been kind of busy, but I will this week again try to. And the January 11th is the date that FEMA allows us to recognize the damage. Then we have 18 months to complete the damage.
To finish it. All right, so I just wanted to really keep you aware that, you know, we have an awful lot of work to do in town to meet the 2025 upgrades and ditching requirements. We have some, been going out with Mark and Guy looking at the culverts, and there's a lot of upgrades that need to be done. And of course, we could, you know, we could lease or subcontract everything to an outside party, but I think it would be best that we, you know, really keep this going.
Control our own destiny.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so I do have the original wheeled excavator request for a proposal or bid from previous years. There's not much else then to talk about and the loan information. We have some of that as well. Initial loan information that Stan got for us with the comparative research. Just want people to make sure they're reading everything so that everybody's on the same page and knows what's going on. Okay, so wheeled excavator, when do you want to see this get on the agenda?
You said you're meeting with FEMA this week.
Right, so I'm
What
thinking.
kind of an answer are you gonna get? We all know what kind of.
Well, yeah,
answer.
well,
Stupid.
we have to get the okay from FEMA to see if it fits in
And weather is
there.
gonna be an
discipline.
issue, so I'm guessing February at the latest. We really need to start February, March, if we're gonna apply for a loan for April.
Certainly know well before then, from FEMA, that's for sure,
Okay.
with the final date.
FEMA, all right, FEMA gave us and again, he said, you can't quote me, but he thought that we would probably receive our funds within about 6 months. And he, for the event
Tell
of
us, is that
July 29th. And again, because they're kind of moving this right along. And as long as we get our ducks in order and submit all the information that he's requiring, he said he thought that 6 months would be an appropriate window of opportunity to get our funds.
Bruce is mentioning that we both went to a FEMA workshop and they said we might be able to be reimbursed before the end of the year. That was before FEMA has decided to send people in person again. And so we have a person that comes to town from Burlington every Friday now for the next 60 days to work with us on the paperwork. And they're also going to do site inspections. They were gonna do it all digitally. Now they're going to physically come. So that's why it's gonna take 6 months and not 3 months.
So who are those two people that we met with at that meeting? Are they?
Kim, that she is the, she's the one that runs the, she's not.
Yeah,
the
Mel
state-
is from the FEMA, federal FEMA.
Right,
Richard is from the state level. What happens is that FEMA funnels the money to the state funnels it to the communities.
and Kim is the in-between person. She actually makes sure that she knows all the rules and regs, and so she coordinates between state and federal.
Okay.
Yes, sir,
Where does this meeting occur?
in this room.
Is there a specific time designated?
We meet,
Well, we
10
start
o'clock.
10 o'clock, because he comes from Burlington, it's almost a 3-hour trip. So he starts at 10 and we like to finish by 2 or 3 so that he could get back up to Burlington.
Is it a meeting that's open to select board members if they wish to attend, or is it a closed meeting?
Well, anybody,
he doesn't sit here, but.
it's basically a workshop for us to, we have to get the coordinates, the latitude and longitude of each event. We have to review what went in it, the dimensions of it. It's basically,
All I'm interested in knowing is are there other people who can attend if they wish?
I guess anybody can attend, but basically Dot and I are the
Signers.
the
Yeah.
people representing Brookline in this particular event.
Right,
And we're the ones that have been assigned the different things, but
I understand that.
Yeah.
And I welcome that. I think it's
Yeah.
great. I think it's a good dance. I would just like to partake in sitting and just watching.
yeah,
Sure.
there's no
What it's
problem.
all about. I guess it was that's a simple question for me to ask, and I asked it, and thank you very much.
No, all
Okay.
meetings are open. I mean, you know,
Now, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
At the last meeting, I think I had offered similar opinions to those that were expressed by David. And I'm wondering where the picking up and carrying the ball regarding how much money are we gonna be saving with these outside vendors not being used because we have equipment? And the offset, the trade-off of what the payments are. I would like to see some numbers, and I mentioned even a committee possibly being formed to do that. That hasn't been mentioned, so I'm wondering, is the idea of analyzing this not a good idea? Or do
Well-
people just wanna jump in and
Well, no, the-
get something done as opposed to
analyzing it
making
is
sense?
a little difficult because it's a dynamic number. We put $39,000 a year into a line item on the highway budget. That $39,000 is basically for vendors like Car Tree Service, RT Clark.
Yeah, I
any
know
other
what it's
vendors
for.
that do that. And basically, having our own machine, we could cut down the amount of the $39,000
Right.
owning our own equipment. $39,000 is still gonna be there because we still have to pay for the equipment and so forth, but it would be less than the $39,000 by owning a piece of equipment. And having it, the most important thing is the emergencies and having the ability to respond immediately, because we got lucky with Archie. If he had not responded, we'd still have ditches up there because everybody else was busy.
I understand that. And if I understand the last budget meeting, you specifically indicated that we need to look at that seasonal
And I
budget
did
because
say-
there are things that this would not cover. Like, we don't have a dump
Okay.
truck with a plow.
Right.
So we can't carry materials back into a site even though we have equipment to put it on company now. We don't have the equipment to do the plow. So there's a portion that we're still gonna spend.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a portion that we're gonna, by purchasing equipment, not have to pay someone else, but for an asset of the town. I guess what I'm asking for is it anyone's concern that we have the numbers for those kinds of
Yeah.
decisions? We're not talking about getting those numbers. We're
I
talking about general
submitted
things.
a paper to David and I thought I sent it to everybody. Last year's numbers of that $39,000 in detail, what we spent and how we spent it.
If I got it, I'm not aware of
You
it.
weren't on the board.
Oh,
last
okay,
year.
that explains it.
No, but
No. He's talking about, Guy's talking about something he sent us a couple of weeks ago. He sent to all of us. In advance of the budget discussion, which of course, as a reminder, like Bruce pointed out, we have not yet gotten to our highway budget discussion. And we're not scheduled to do that until December 8th. So it's a little hard to jump ahead to some of these things that are essentially conversations that we should be having after we've had that discussion. But what I will say about like the information that Guy sent, this is very useful to see. However, I don't have any detail from this to know what of these things we wouldn't have had to pay for if we had had a wheeled excavator, other than the 2 rentals of the wheeled excavator, because I recognize the vendor. So I know at least some of these things were money that we actually spent on wheeled excavators. In fact, probably half of it was already spent on wheeled excavators. But you know what I mean? I mean, it's great to have this information as a starting point, but somebody needs to give more detail to this. Probably Mark, or a combination of Mark and Archie, or I'm not sure who, but
I'm willing to suggest that maybe 2 select board members might decide to meet with, plan to have a round table with Archie, the road commissioner, and the road supervisor, and start working on this so that details can be worked out in the early part of 2022.
And if I can add, I think this is not bad what you're suggesting. I totally understand what you're doing. And there's nothing wrong with exposure, which is what you're saying. If I-
Well, yes, exposure and simply understanding what
Exactly.
the pictures are.
I don't have any problem with any of that, but I do think I would like to see, you said you select board meeting, I'd like to see that man over there involved in it too as well, because he was great with the idea at the beginning 3-4 years ago, and it was his baby at the beginning. He had the right idea and the right vision, and I'd like to see that included on any meeting that's involved.
I can just gather some of the data for you because I have.
Whatever
that
you think's
ability.
right, Guy, I just want your say involved, is what I'm saying.
I would think it's a great idea.
And I think what David and Stan are saying are not obtuse, I think it's not a bad idea to look, to be detailed, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think we're all gonna come to the same conclusion equally.
Well-
See it all.
yeah, I want to possibly echo, I'm not going to speak for Stan, but I have a feeling Stan may be sensing some of the same thing, which is I am willing, and I'm sure Stan is willing, to spend the time that we can spend to dig through the data and try to come up with information about this. I'm a little concerned that other people on this board have already made up their mind, somewhat regardless of what information we come up with. So I'll just say, I don't want to spend a lot of time doing
Spinning your wheels, yeah.
exactly, coming up with information which might not agree with the view that some other people have already formed. So I just throw that out there. And the other thing I'll say is that Stan and I don't have access to most of the information that's necessary for this. So it isn't just us. And it isn't even just Mark. I mean, Mark wouldn't, in fairness to Mark wouldn't be able to look at this report that Guy pulled and know the detail of the invoices, some of which are referenced and some of which are not. So, I mean, we'll have to pull AP warrants from a year worth of time and find the underlying invoices and then discuss, okay, could that have been done? Would we not have had to have this cost if we had a wheeled excavator, or would we, blah, blah, blah. And I'll also say this is just one little portion of it. We talked about having all of this same information for the FEMA work. So that's something at some point that I think needs to be quantified. And obviously it can't be done yet because we don't have most of that information yet.
I also would like to suggest that we also look forward and look at the responsibilities and the projects that are in the future that we must meet by state regs and mandates. And that is culvert expansion, water mitigation, and other programs that are involved with protecting the waters and lands of the people here in, not in Brookline, and in the state of Vermont. There's an awful lot of work that needs to be done and highlighted, and Wyndham Regional is involved in it, and they'll be coming up with some priority projects too. So we also look at the past, but we also must look into the future of what we anticipate, because that's what we have to do, is move into the future.
Yes.
So,
Right. I'll also add that we also need to look into the future and realize that probably next year, or if not next year, the year after, if we're able to extend it, we're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars building a new salt and sand shed. And our portion of that is going to be a lot of money that we have not budgeted for as a town. That there are other significant highway expenditures that are going to have to be factored into all of this to additionally make sure that we have the money to be able to do whatever we might choose to do.
Dave, I want to make a reaction to your comment about mind being made up. And generally that's, I'm speaking about me, I'm not speaking about anybody else. And generally that's true about me. But in saying that, I don't want to hurt the town. And that's kind of what I said at the beginning in a roundabout way, which is I want to see what the numbers look like. And that's why I said about Stan saying, we need to analyze it to make sure that, let's put it this way, that we're all on the same page as far as what we feel its expenses are. Because if we need to spend $50,000 someplace and we ain't got it, it's gonna make it a little hard for us to get a down payment on a wheeled excavator. And we've got a lot of stuff coming our way, and we got a lot of stuff that's going to come our way, like with the infrastructure signing yesterday. So there's a lot of variables. Of course, I wanted it done yesterday, but that's really unrealistic. I think the idea of the first part of the year, and it was get past the budget process, go into this analytical mode. We've had the road fund already analyzed, and we move forward with the discussions that both you had, Stan and Dot. I think we're all sound enough and smart enough people to come to a conclusion what the right path forward is.
Great, but
Thank you, Bruce, that's well said and accurate. I think we all want the same thing.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt the town. I don't want to end up with a bill for $100,000. Like I said, I'll make one last statement. I'm a progressive liberal. When it comes to spending other people's money, I'm really tight-fisted. Ask Dot.
yeah.
We had that discussion the other day.
Now, I'm only bringing this up for the reasons that I don't want to find myself in a situation where we're into this and finding myself saying, I'm either gonna abstain from the vote or vote no, because I don't know what's gonna happen down the
Sure.
road to the benefit of the town. And I don't wanna go into something with no information available to provide to the
Okay.
citizens, and in my own mind, feeling comfortable having made a decision on doing the right thing and justifiable so. So that's where I'm coming. I don't mean to be
Right.
wise ass or critical.
No, I'm not. We're all smart people. We'll work it out. Just have the right attitude, get all the numbers on, have the opposing, this is what democracy is about. Yeah, I'm giving a political lecture, we don't do that, but anyway, I made my point, and you're right to
Much
say.
appreciated that, I don't know how to let something go and not talk about it, and I didn't wanna wait until spring
Right.
to bring it up again.
Right.
But I
do that.
didn't want it to be far from our thoughts, so,
Yep.
all right, if Mark and Stan and David and Guy and Archie, if you all, if there could be, I know the amount of information that we had a few years ago, when we first approached the town with this idea was substantial and hard to not to see clearly, so I hopefully you can come up with a similar.
And one last thing, we're lucky because we have a very qualified person as road commissioner who's been in the business for 50 years. And if anybody's gonna be the devil's advocate, it's gonna be Archie Clark. So we're gonna have our poops together in order to be able to react to whatever he has to say. And I think we're up to the challenge. We just have to prove that it's worth it for the town. Amen.
All right, excellent. All right, can we move on then?
I think so.
Thank you, we're gonna go to reports, oh, I don't know, it's only, we're really early, it's at
So?
7:45. All right,
We'll be
reports,
late for
town
Rachel.
clerk report, Mr. Guy Tanza, what's new in town?
Basically, things are going just as they have been for the last couple of months. It's been busy in the town
Dot.
office and
Hey Dot, I'm sorry, didn't we skip over where we were gonna go through appropriations?
Oh, excuse me, I turned the page, thank you, David.
Sure.
I turned the page too soon, sorry, new business, appropriations. Budget review, discuss plans for requested appropriations for fiscal year 2022-23. Here we go. I'm ready. Okay, all right, I emailed you twice today, but the updated one, I'm gonna update one more time because we received 23, actually 24 items for appropriations. 1 through 22 are appropriations that have been made in the past. Number 23, Project Feed the Thousands, was a general letter that came in the time that we were accepting appropriations. It's just a general looking for funding, no amount was requested, and we haven't contributed that to them before. So as we go through here, I would like to make sure that you noted that item number 3, the upcoming year, I do have a request for Green Up Vermont. Item number 6, Leland and Gray Foundation, I received no request from them. I did get the paper request for More Free Library. You can see that they have an increase from 300 to 700. There is another increase in Senior Solutions. They went from 650 to 700. But moving down the page, the Current did not send in a request this year. Valley Cares, which I called the business office, they did not send in a request this year.
Excuse me?
Yes.
What did you call them?
Today.
Okay.
Sorry,
Um,
perhaps you could send me that list so I don't have to try to keep up with you.
Oh, absolutely, good idea. Vermont Rural Fire Protection Program did not get, there's no request from them this year. Wyndham County Humane Society, I got their request, it's for $500, which is the same as last year. And then the Gathering Place initially sent us a letter that said they would like to request $500 this year as they did last year. I contacted them and they apologized. It was a template letter that was sent out. It is a new request, a new appropriations request for the Gathering Place for $500 from the town of Brookline. It is not a repeat appropriations. So how do you want, David? I didn't do this for a couple of years. How did you do this last year?
So the Gathering Place is a new one
The Gathering Place is a new appropriation
for
for
$500.
I added it up and Gwen double checked it. The appropriations that are repeat appropriations, including changes in prices, donation requests, totaled $8,050. When you add the $500 from the Gathering Place, it's $8,550.
Okay.
Okay, so how do we
We're discussing. So.
Yeah, which, I mean, it is the select board's prerogative to place any, all, or none in front of the townspeople for their town meeting in March.
Right, and I'll
Right.
just say, in recent years, in particular last year, although we can talk about the situation of last year and why it was perhaps unique in some ways. I think the opinion of most of the board, if not all the board, over the last few years anyway, has been that we should put the number, what people have requested, we should put forward to the voters of the town to decide. Certainly in the case of organizations that have been supported in the past, we put that forward to the voters, even if it's an increase in money. That'll be called out in some fashion, which I guess we'll have to discuss as we get closer to how we're going to warn all of these things. Usually, if there's a new request, like I guess in the case of the gathering place, we would normally warn that as a separate article. So it gets voted on its own. You may recall last year, because we didn't have a town meeting, we had everything voted separately because we were voting everything up or down by Australian ballot, and there was no opportunity for anyone to be able to amend a single article that contained all of the appropriations, which is historically how we've done it. Assuming that we're going to have a physical town meeting again, we could, assuming everybody wants to, we could go back to warning the recurring appropriations as one large article, detailed in the town report of line by line, but one article for all of them that gets voted up or down, rather than warning each of them individually.
I think we're jumping the gun. I see you're assuming that we're gonna have a town meeting where everybody's gonna be there. But from what I've been observing, that Governor Scott has been in the position right now, at this point in time, of not declaring a state of emergency. Even though cases have been up dramatically in the Northeast, especially Vermont. Saying that, I believe it's up to the legislature in January that they can go ahead and approve what we're talking about, a live town meeting. I would say, if I was a betting man, I'd put a few more dollars that we're not gonna have a live town meeting as much as I'd like to have it.
I think they are.
I think we will.
You
I
do?
think so too.
Because you would have the window of opportunity is so diminished, you have to send a warning out 30 or 40 days prior to the meeting if the legislature meets in January. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe,
time will tell with that.
Yeah, time,
Yeah.
I don't know.
it's real volatile at this point, it's really hard.
yeah, I don't know, you know.
Right.
It's-
So anyway, I mean, I guess that doesn't necessarily have to impact anything about what we're discussing tonight, as far as whether we,
dollars.
as a board, want to alter any of these requests before presenting them to the town, or if we want to get more information from any of these organizations. A couple things I will say before we continue, however we're going to continue. It concerns me that we haven't gotten any requests from some of these organizations that we've always given money to. I know that you reached out to some of them. I personally think we should give them a little bit more time to make sure we haven't either missed something or they've not just neglected to send it to us for whatever reason. Valley Cares, I mean, we always get a request from Valley Cares. And it's one of the ones that I will say, I think is most ardently supported by people in town. So I think it would serve us to do a little bit more, give a little bit more rope to try to make sure they genuinely did not intend to send us a request before we omit it.
How about the Leland and Gray Foundation? That was something that every year we struggle with as well.
Yeah, Guy had to call.
Yeah, Stephen Meyer is the person, the contact, and each year it's always, it's been late and for whatever reasons, but it is Leland and Gray, it's our neighbor, it's a high school that our community goes to, and it's for a good cause, it's for scholarships and so forth. I'm surprised that we haven't, I think may have a full plate and some things just, like everything else, just go by the wayside until all of a sudden he realizes, well. So like as David said, I think it would be advantageous to contact these people because we know that they need the funding and they have, historically always asked us.
Yeah, well, I picked up the folder yesterday to make up this list today, so, all right, now I have a name for Leland and Gray, maybe you can give me a phone number tomorrow and I'll call
Yeah.
him, all right,
I could call Wyndham County Humane. I think
I
just
talked to
had-
them, they
you did?
sent, they emailed me their request for
Okay.
$500, I do have that.
The current comes up,
The current, do we know,
the current comes up this one?
Yes.
Gentleman free, I think.
I actually saw him on Grashit Road.
You did?
Yes, I
Yeah,
did.
really?
Yeah, they do,
Yes, I did.
Ah,
they do call bys, they do, and I'm surprised, and again,
I think.
since we don't have a paperwork, I don't have a way to call them now, the other ones, I mean, I didn't know if it was a.
Current has a website and there's there's a person there that we could, contact. And again, some of these, and I'm just speculating, some of them could have been sent and maybe somehow got lost in the shuffle.
Okay.
So that, we give them a deadline, this year was October 28th, but by the same token, we have to cut them a little slack because things happen.
Okay, that's no problem, I can recontact Valley Chaos, I'll look up the current and reach out to them. The Vermont Rural Fire Protection Program, which are the
Fire hydrants,
fire hydrants. In the past, we haven't done that, and then we did last year because everything was on the Australian ballot. But I guess we can find out their phone number as well. And Wyndham County Humane Society, this project Feed the Thousands.
wasn't that something where we used the Townsend food shelf, that we sent the money to them?
Yeah,
Yes.
for many years, we made a donation that essentially went to the Townsend food shelf. But several years ago, we stopped getting the request for donation anymore because they started handling their money differently. So we haven't actually gotten a request for Townsend food shelf or Project Feed the Thousands in several years. So that doesn't seem unusual.
All right, so not to worry about.
So I'm sorry, so Wyndham County Humane Society, have you,
$500, they emailed, I talked to Annie today, she apologized, she sent it to my
yeah,
email.
okay. Okay, so sorry, so that's 500 again?
500, yes.
Okay.
And some of these requests that are almost double, I think that it would be prudent to take a second look at those.
Can I say something?
Bruce?
My two concerns, the first one is kind of one that I never used, but it's kind of close to my heart because I was thinking about donating my entire library to them. That's the more free library, but they raised the rate from 300 to 700. Was there any kind of an explanation
Yes.
for that increase? I know that I believe that they're getting funding or something to build a building.
We just got a paper letter today or yesterday.
And I asked them when I went and got my cat last week, and they said, yes, we're gonna be having the building. So maybe you can clarify what I'm just saying.
It says our increased services, not limited, increased adult and youth programming, new furnace and inclusive at-home use of library services for people unable to get to our facility have all been acquired based on community requests. Library uses has increased annually for the past 5 years. That's the reason that they gave for the increase.
Oh, I'm sorry, confused you. I apologize. I was thinking of the freaking, I got myself confused there for a second. Finish what you're saying.
So that's it, more for your library request for $700. for fiscal year 2022, adding that, their services,
Okay.
includes increased adult and youth programming, new furnace, and an inclusive at-home use of library services for people unable to get to our facilities have been increasing their cost, so that's why they went from 300 to 400.
I was getting confused with.
From 300 to 700.
700.
Well, I could see the library, which is certainly impacts the town of Brookline. The one that troubles me is that South Bend thing.
Oh,
with-
let's not get into that.
And, you know,
I-
they're asking $1,500. They're offering a $20,000 first prize for a business idea. Yeah, I have the posters they just sent us.
Can somebody explain to me, I know they've been on,
This is the lady who came to
Yes.
our meeting,
did I miss something, or, do they have a great impact on this community? Do they have any impact on this community? Explain that to me, because we're giving them 15, and this is approved by the town voters.
last year.
Last year.
Wow.
Australian ballot for that kind of money, we never did that before, we're all sitting there going, holy smokes. But whatever, that doesn't answer my question. Maybe Stan seems like he was getting ready to answer it. How is it impacting Brookline? It's being quiet in the room.
Well, I'm trying to find
And
their
we're spending
paperwork.
$1,590. And you said our total appropriation for 8,500 and 1,500 is 10. That's a lot of freaking cash.
Okay, so Sevitz is the Brattleboro Development Grant Corporation, advancing southern Vermont. It is,
He's got a poster.
okay. And,
Basically, almost since there's some redundancy, I think, between the Wyndham Regional Commission and some of these other commissions that are all, you know, offering different things, but almost the same thing, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
So can I ask a question?
Yes.
And while I don't, well, let me start by saying I don't necessarily see what the huge impact of this organization might be to the town of Brookline, but the town voters voted overwhelmingly last year to give an appropriation of this same amount to this organization. So while I understand we might want to delve into what this organization does and what their impact is, then we're going to do that for all of the other organizations that the voters approved last year also, right? We're going to go through each of them.
You have a point, David, or we could just make it a separate article. Like we've done with some of the others.
well, you gotta either do all or none. That's
Well,
the-
I think, I mean, people don't have to feel this way, but my feeling is at this point, we treat it the same way we do all of the other recurring appropriations. So if we want to warn this one separately, we warn them all separately, which we could do.
Yeah.
There's no reason we couldn't do that in the context of a town meeting, and they all get voted up or down one by one. It slows
you
things down, but whatever.
David, do you remember what we did seventh back in 2019 by any chance?
We didn't,
In 2019, nothing.
No.
Last year was the
It's like
first
one
year.
side nuts.
Okay, I got my answer, okay.
okay,
Maybe if they're above a certain dollar amount, you could hold them. See if it's benefiting.
well, it's based on the population of 530, where they asked for $3 per person to contribute to this. And, you know, they are, business assisting, they assist businesses. They train workforce people, they, I think there's actually a course I'm gonna take on grant writing that they're offering. So,
Well, I think because they've approved the last couple of years, I think if they've approved it last year, they would approve it this year.
Well, that was the first year that they approved.
Right.
And the year before, the select board, I think, elected not to have it, or it was a separate line item and it was defeated.
And don't forget. there's
No,
been
it was, we never, as a board, we never put it forward to the voters until last year,
Right, okay.
in the
that's true,
time
so-
that I've been on the board anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
And unlike what we've done in previous years, these things aren't discussed individually in a Zoom, in an Australian ballot situation.
No,
They're
So,
voted on.
they're just voted.
just that one year that everything had to be,
All right, so I think what I'm hearing from everyone is that we will look to place on the ballot in a group the appropriation requests as written. I will reach out to the Leland and Gray, I'll reach out to the current Valley Care.
and what about that
Fire
project fees of
department.
thousands? Because I thought
What's that?
unless, I thought one of the requirements for approving appropriations is we had to have a request from them and an amount from them for us to approve or not approve. It doesn't look like we got a request at all and there's no amount for Project Feed the Thousands.
Right, this is what came in for Project Feed the Thousands.
Oh, okay.
It's just a letter that came within the window of appropriations.
Okay, but there's no, just, so they did request it, just no amount.
It's just general letter.
I don't see a dollar amount here.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen this specific letter, but I believe, I mean, I think it's a fundraising letter that they send out to all kinds of people. That doesn't qualify as an appropriation request. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
every request that we get for money from an organization before October 31st doesn't qualify as an appropriation request. So, I mean, I don't think we need to worry about that one. Can I ask a question about Winston Prouty, though? So we didn't get any request of any kind from the Winston Prouty Center, which is another one, which was a new appropriation last year that was approved.
Yeah.
I don't see, is that the youth services?
No, it's Winston
So it's
Prouty.
called Winston Prouty.
It's not on this appropriations checklist that I got, which is, it is the check warrant report 2207 dated 8/18/21, which were the appropriations paid out. And remember, we amended this to add $90 because the Sevens appropriation was written as $1,500 even, and it was $1,590. There is no Mr.
Winston Prouty.
Winston Prouty on here. Want to take a look?
Oh, I'm ready.
No,
I'm not
I mean, my brain skips sometimes, and at this time of the day, it skips.
How much longer do you have to do? Give it us.
Okay, so then that means we probably never paid these people the appropriation that we voted at town meeting? I guess.
It's not on this, and the appropriations, you had noted when you added, it was added up, that it was $90 short, and you saw that it was from the, it was from the Sevets appropriation. But this was all, you had added it up at the meeting online, and you were the one that saw this deficiency in the one check. And Winston Prouty, I don't know.
So,
So it's in the book, it's in the, was voted on,
Yeah,
Australian ballot?
I mean, I'll look at my book again. I mean,
oh yeah, I remember too.
So I'm going to say something that I don't mean to be
Here it comes.
disrespectful to anyone or, oh, wait, actually, hang on. Did we not vote Winston Prouty last year?
I thought so.
I don't know offhand.
No, it was definitely a year before, but I thought I remember it was next.
Maybe it was 2 years ago.
Things are kind of weird.
I thought it was last year. No, it was 2 years ago.
This is
Really?
This is the.
2 years ago was Winston Prouty.
The appropriation.
All
And
right,
based on what I'm seeing, we never got an appropriations request last year for Winston Prouty. So it shouldn't have been listed in what we would have paid earlier this year.
Right, so it's not, and it wasn't.
Right.
Okay, sorry, I thought you were just saying that it was, and that we had the $90 discrepancy of, I don't know what you're looking at that you're referring to, but
I'm looking at what it sent you today in the email, and I'm saying that item number 10, sevens, requested last year $1,590. When we did the appropriations and when the checks for appropriations went out this August for the 2021-22 appropriations, the check was for $1,500. You corrected it and said there's $90 missing. The voters approved $1,590. And so this was amended.
okay, but that list did not include Winston Prouty at all.
Correct.
Sorry, I think I misunderstood what you were saying about whatever it was you were looking at, is that it included Winston Prouty. Okay, so Winston Prouty must not have ever sent us a request and didn't send us a request again, so they're
Right.
off. Okay, all right,
Right.
Yep.
sorry.
We have American Red
I
Cross,
was
Grace Cottage
confused.
Foundation, Green Up Vermont, Brownworks Collaborative, Historical Society of Wyndham County, Leland and Gray Foundation, I'm gonna contact Stephen Meyer. More Free Library went up $400, Senior Solutions went up $50, Seveds, Southern Vermont Riding, Therapeutic Riding, The Current I'm gonna contact, Valley Cares I'll contact again, Vermont Association for the Blind is there, Vermont Rural Fire Protection Program, I'll contact them. Vermont Family Network we've got, Visiting Nurses we've got, Vermont Center for Independent Living we have, our West River Watershed Alliance we have, Wyndham County Humane Society we had for a request for an addition for $500. Women's Freedom Center is the same, and Youth Services is the same. We have one additional request for $500 from the Gathering Place in Brattleboro. So, I will contact these others. So you want me to put this on the agenda for December 1st? Give you the update?
Sounds like that's appropriate. Yeah.
Okay, we will do that. Put this in here for now.
Let me just have those minutes back.
All right, where are we at? Yeah. Okay. Now we're good. I was so surprised we were ahead of it. 7:45, we're right on schedule now. All right. Budget review. All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Tanza, you are on again.
Yes,
Sorry.
as I was saying before, things are about the same in the office. It's been very busy. Between FEMA, between people asking a lot of questions about their taxes because tax collection day was November 16th. So things are just about as usual, busy, but under control.
Okay.
And we got a new dog.
Congratulations.
Not
did?
us, no.
Oh.
No, we had a new dog registered.
Oh.
No. I'd be the first if I got a dog.
Is that Charlie?
I got a new cat, is that count?
No, he's not old enough.
All right, we're gonna move on then
Yeah, you're
to
right, he's new too.
Select Board. We already did the appointment of Donald Domain for the alternate DB fibers. The REMAC appointment, I did not get an appointment for that, and I did attend the meeting last night, which was online. I will have to say that it was
Not the most exciting.
not a very interesting, not a very good meeting. Pretty much they talked about how to finance and sign up for grants to buy fire engines and ambulances and air breathing equipment. So I will attend the 4 meetings. They did suggest that I contact Newbrook Fire Department because we do pay them mutual aid funding and they should be able to appoint a fire emergency worker as the proxy for the town of Brookline. However, Newbrook did not have anyone there representing themselves last night. Newfane did not have anyone online last night. It was a very light crew. So this program, roundtable is was legislated to be require 2 people to from each town, 1 representative like myself and 1 EMS or emergency worker service. So it's up in the air. Anyway, so that was done. I will tell you, as far as what I'm doing here, I did sign up for a workshop on December 13th and 14th from 12:30 to 4:30 for a local emergency management director course, and that's through Wyndham Regional. I think Stan, you and I did this a couple of years ago, and in order to sign our local emergency plan, we have to do that. So this is an update on that. I registered for another course on November 22nd, which is transportation workshop, workforce development and technology. Pretty much it is a program for learning safety countermeasures that the towns are responsible for. It's a webinar, it's free, and I secured my spot, so I'm gonna attend that. It's I think it's an hour or 2 long. It deals with Federal Highway Administration's environmental excellence work. Okay. I did sign up for a grant writing course being offered through the CEVED's program. It's paid on grant writing, and that's the countermeasures. And I signed up for a webinar on November 30th, which is the day before our highway fund, and it's on developing proper highway budgets, making sure that you are understanding that budgets for highways need to have a wide view, and you need to have some basics. And I thought that would be helpful. Anybody else can sign up for it as well. If you'd like, I can send it along. It's run by the New York State LTAP Center. So, but that's on highway budgeting. And the other thing I wanted to say that I did, Dustin Lee has contacted me again regarding the Wi-Fi hotspot in Brookline. In the next month or 2, he'll be coming through. They'll be coming up and setting up a date to come and do an install of our equipment. He asked if he could mail or ship the equipment directly to us, and I gave him our PO address and our UPS address as well. So, and this is a program from Nationwide Disaster Response, and it deals with getting the town out of the hotspot. The only other thing that I have here, I have an Act 166 inventory that has to be done by November 29th. I think I can probably do this. I'm going to be calling Newbrook anyway, so I'm going to ask them for some information for the Act 66 that we have to comply with. Today, Larson Electric was here and did the electrical upgrades and generator hookups for our town, and I think that's all I have to talk about on my select board chair.
Sorry, what was the Act 66 deadline?
November 29th.
Thank you.
Okay. So next, last but not least, special budget meeting Wednesday, December 8th, 2021. I have it, but I'm going to ask Archie Clark to attend and to review over the materials. So make sure everybody takes a look at the data that was provided by the Treasury Department earlier this month. Any other questions for me?
Just want to know what you're gonna do with your spare time.
I don't know. All right, Bruce, Town Building Commissioner report.
Okay, might have heard when I came in, I actually saw, the town office, I actually saw them starting this morning on the electrical, two guys, real nice. Nice to have somebody in our camp that does electrical work. And we discussed a little bit about it, they already knew about it because you had made them abreast of the issue with the mice biting the wires. Then when I came back later, after I'd gone to Susie's, I stopped in and they were still here. Actually dropped off a bill that I created to pay back. And they were still here, one guy was still here, and he explained and showed me what he did. Showed me the junction boxes that he did, and the wiring that he did, and the wire, he actually basically taped the wire over to that section that he found a bare opening. And he actually did some wire changes over here with junction boxes. And he said it was all the way up, I mean, it was not in good shape, so they straightened that all out.
Fantastic.
So that's it for that. Then,
The mouse got fried,
I'm sorry?
It did.
and the mouse got fried.
Oh, mouse electrocuted themselves, and when they were chewing on the wires, he found an electrocuted mouse. But he did correct it and he did take pictures before and after, so we'll have that.
Sorry, Gwen, it's not edible, you just gonna have to get it.
Man.
So anyway, on to my second favorite building, Susie's. We've had some issues in the last 2 weeks with the heat in the place. And it started off with not heating in one spot, but heating in another spot, but not getting it blow by blow. The very day after I finalized all the information with Coda and Coda, I called them up for a trouble call. Let me tell you, I enjoyed doing that. But Tucker was great, we had a nice conversation, he sent somebody over within hours. And basically what occurred was, the system was extremely full of a lot of air. At that point in time, there was no parts expended, it was just a matter, spent over Sean was the guy's name, spent over 2 hours bleeding the system. We're back, everything was working fine. Very next day we had an issue, it came right back again, did some more bleeding. And that was a week ago. Then I got an email this morning that they had no heat in the old building. So they sent out a guy by the name of Chuck this time, and he was there over 2 hours bleeding the system.
Is that expansion tank, the expansion
No.
tank for that system?
That's new of last
Okay,
December.
Because that makes me think the expansion tank.
Okay, I'll remember that. I don't know, it wasn't, it didn't brought up, this is what Chuck said from Coda. He said, we're a heating company, we will principally do heating. He said, what you need, and I'll explain quickly, what you really need to do is get a plumber in here. In fact, I had mentioned it to Scott Bovat, and I was telling him we're having a problem, and it's calling him, it was a heating issue. And so, anyway, what Chuck, I actually came in from going down to work out and coming home from Brattleboro, and I was coming to check to see how everything was, and he was just leaving. So anyway, he explained to me that he's had similar instances like this before, and the water in the system is cyclical, one complete loop. And on the return cycle of the system, there's a couple of valves that he has objection to, they should even be there. Because they could pull negative air out of the air and actually introduce air into the system. Michelle over there actually made a good point. She said, why all of a sudden are we having this problem? So something's happening, and could be expansion tank, which is brand new last year.
Well, that bladder could have failed, and it's.
Yeah, I guess anything's possible.
I'm listening.
Yeah, I called Scott Bo, but I haven't got a response back yet. But it also could be the two things that he explained, which were those valves. And he says he's done this before, he's taken those valves out and the problem went away.
That's good.
But you should see, he was over 2 hours today, taking air out of it a week later. So he said he thought it was either that or a little more remotely, that sweat soldering that is now 30 years old or more, and that system could develop pinholes. And that could interject air into the system as well. So I called him out on it again because he mentioned it to me before we started 2 hours previous. And he said, less likely, more the valves, but you really need to contact a plumber and get him in on it and see what happens from there, because that's really more their expertise So at the end of, when I got home, I called Scott Boback for his return phone call. And I'm trying to avoid major expenses with this, but I've had 3 visits from him, and I don't know what that bill is gonna be. But there's the only part that's been brought into the situation is one thermostat that was broken, and other than that, it's all labor, so we'll have to see. And I'll talk to Scott probably tomorrow morning and see what he has to say,
Okay, perfect.
and
Anything
that's
else?
it.
All right. Okay, so next, Stan, where it says E, I want you to talk about your thing, your report to the round schoolhouse. Road supervisor, that's on part E though. Mark, you just want to quick summarize what we've been doing and then any things you finished and things that you're gonna do?
Sure. Okay, basically I've been checking roads after heavy rain, making sure culverts are all working, moving some road debris that falls into the road. We also, I worked a couple hours with Dave to finish up some paperwork on a grant we did on Parker Road. Also finished up paperwork on the other grant, which is on Putney Mountain. Also have been working with and under Bruce's guidance on some of the town buildings, the school daycare. We spent some hours doing some maintenance and started doing some painting here at the town office. And then we started the program with our FEMA representative where we're going to be meeting on Friday as needed till we're done. And we've been riding around. Guy has joined the team when is using the town's laptop to GPS the damaged locations of the flood, and also Dot is helping with all the paperwork. We're identifying where the flood damage took place and then doing some measuring, putting all the numbers together in the form that FEMA requires from us, which is quite complex. So that's taken, it's gonna take some hours to complete, and we do have a very nice representative to work with. And basically that's it, just going site to site. We still have half the town left to plug in GPS numbers and measure the repairs and compare them with all of our maintenance records. And so that's it for now.
All right, very good. Stan,
What am I talking about?
Stan completed the Preservation Trust
Oh,
paperwork. I just wanted to thank you again for doing that. And I guess we're all, you might want to just tell them about the switching names.
yeah.
That happens.
Yeah.
I look at that name because I know Bill a lot more than I.
Thank you so much for that
Mike.
email. I sent everyone a copy of the report that I sent along to the Preservation Trust of Vermont. And unfortunately, I don't know why Mr. Stacks's first name stuck in my mind as William
That's his brother.
instead of Michael.
Yeah.
But I need to advise PVT, Lisa, Ryan, that I made a mistake on the name. So if I can verbally acknowledge my mistake to yourselves, not waste your time reading something where one name is changed, I apologize for the error and I will correct it tomorrow with Lisa. Although she's not in the office, she won't be there till Friday. But, So thank you for giving that and pointing that out. After I saw that, I said, oh my God.
You know what, I skimmed over it because I know Bill, yeah.
Really.
grew up
At least he didn't break down what.
No,
I believe there's 3 William Sasses in the family.
There's 3?
I think you're right.
I think it's his father, Bill, his brother, and his son, it's just 4.
Oh my God.
There's 4,
Really?
there's 4 William stats.
Oh, that's productive.
So you were close.
I was
The
thinking,
total number of how many?
I was thinking of naming my cat Bruce.
All right,
Your wife would have fun time with that.
What about George?
My wife was, they were that long.
Yeah. I not to add a moment of levity, my brother-in-law was friends with a state trooper in Massachusetts. My brother-in-law was a state trooper. And he lived in Worcester. He had 5 boys. And the name of each of them was George, the first name. I don't know how he kept it.
Sounds like George Foreman.
George Foreman.
Yeah, George.
George, and George.
well,
I don't know. It may simplify things.
man, I lost my agenda for some silly reason here, but we're pretty much at a point where we're doing,
Communications.
is that where we're at?
Yeah,
Smoking.
email, regular mail.
I'm gonna be on time for each of them.
Okay, well, the emails have been coming from FEMA, that's okay. There haven't been other emails were just basically workshops and informative things. Nothing, no emails from communications from townspeople. Written mail, it looks here that Windham County Sheriff has sent a notice that their rates are now $48.50 an hour for contracts of at least 2,000 hours, which is not us, and $60 per hour for anything less than 2,000 hours. We don't contract with them anyway at this time, so we can check this off and return it. There's also in the town hall, I'm borrowing it right now, it's the VLTC News, it's probably on their online as well. It's their All Things ARPA magazine, or All Things ARPA for this year, and it also covers some of the town fair informations. So be good reading for anybody who'd like to catch up on that. And what's after that? What's after communications?
Pay orders,
Pay orders, okay.
payroll, and then.
Oh, it's gonna be strong.
Payroll warrant. Let's see if I do this right.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve payroll warrant 2022-19 dated November 10th, 2021 in the amount of $2,082.14. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Stan. Any discussion? I do have to say that I was at this payroll warrant, since most of it is all automatic deposit. Everybody's received their money. I did sign it, but I'll pass it around for everyone else. All those in favor of approving payroll warrant 2022-19 dated 11/10/21 in the amount of $2,082.14 signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. I'll let you sign that. I'd like to make a motion that we approve payroll warrant, accounts payable check warrant number 2022-20 dated November 17th, 2021 in the amount of $4,214.38. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Stan. Any discussion?
I'll just note that I'm gonna abstain because it wasn't emailed, so I haven't seen it. So
It was
that's
emailed.
fine. The
It
accounts
wasn't.
payable warrant
Yeah,
Yeah, I got one.
I did,
today?
oh,
no, Monday.
this.
How was it emailed Monday if it's dated today? We
She
got
did
the,
it on the- She did it on the 15th because the office was pretty much closed today because of the electricians were working. So the checks are here. She did come in on Monday and work on it, the
Right.
15th.
Okay.
And she emailed it at around 1:15 or so.
So what he's saying is that the
Right.
dates were on it then.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean, I would go ahead with it. I'll still abstain because I still haven't seen
Okay.
whether I lost it or not, I guess. But
Okay. Thank you. All right, all those in favor of approving accounts payable warrant 2022-20 dated 11/17/21 in the amount of $4,214.38 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any abstentions?
yes, I'll abstain.
One from David Jones. Excuse me. Okay, the
When you're done.
motion passes with one abstention. Thank you. Oh, such a sign. Yes, go on. Excuse me. Anybody have a blue pen or a black pen out there?
That's black.
Okay, so next I believe we set the agenda.
Correct.
Okay, I have for our December 1st meeting to vote the appropriations, to approve the job description. And anything else that might come before this board at that time. Correct? I don't have anything else per se, but I'll sort of fill it up. Okay, so I'll have those two items and any other items that may come of that. So next is the adjourning the meeting, correct?
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to
But
make.
no, there's something about set agenda for special budget meeting.
Okay, the special budget meeting, which is December 8th. We can actually set at the December 1st
Oh,
meeting in
okay.
case we have any changes.
Yeah.
But December 8th meeting is basically gonna be highway. And any budgeting that we did not do,
Which, is that including salaries and,
which would be salaries and some of the other
okay,
information that you had gotten that we left open.
Yep.
If we have to carry over to another meeting, we will.
Okay.
But some of it might be an executive session. Okay, oh, and on the December 1st meeting, we will also review
lease.
the lease for Susie's Little Peanuts that we should have received in the mail today as well.
Email, it's
Email.
email.
Okay, anything else? What's next? And then now it's adjourned.
So the budget, meeting number 2 on December 8th, okay, during the meeting.
Okay, make a motion that we adjourn this evening's meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bruce. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning this evening's meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, I adjourn the meeting. It is 8:12. Thank you very much. I'll stop the recording.
and put Fact TV in the, Waiting room.
Let me.
When they let the heating system, did they wait until water started actually coming
Thanks.
out?